The preseason is hard because I think it teaches us a lot of things, but it obscures some things. And it also just leaves you with these big questions that you kind of have to marinate on for about 10 days before the season starts. And that's what I want to do here. The first one, and I'll go, you go, I'll go, you'll go,
Yep.
is the Atlanta Falcons, because we don't have, and you got the chance to see them live in Flowery Branch, and I'm curious your take on this. It looks like the bottom third of that roster, the stuff that they're trying to do to make this more competitive, which they needed to do, it looks better. And you can try to judge third stringers versus third stringers. It's like watching Toledo play Akron. You don't know really what's going to end up making an impact at the NFL level. I will say I liked the depth that I saw from them this preseason, but what I didn't see was Michael Penix. And what I didn't see was even a glimmer of how this offense is going to look, because, you look somewhere else, and Michael Penix had 3 starts last year. You look over in New York, for example, with the Giants. You saw a fast-paced, no-huddle offense for Jackson Dart that you know that they're going to turn over to at some point this season. And you get an idea of where Dable's head's at. There has to be an evolution for Penix beyond this hybrid offense that they created for him and Kirk Cousins last year, and had to truncate for Kirk
Yep.
Cousins because he couldn't move as well in the pocket. And what are you going to do with the guys in the backfield? So I have no idea, outside of what he looked like in practice, what this Falcons team is going to look like. Are they going to challenge the Bucs this year? Are they going to finish in second place again? I mean, I think that's the floor for them, thankfully. I mean, this division is just terrible. But what was your takeaway? What the hell is this team going to look like? Because there's times when I think about it and I'm like, okay, maybe they did upgrade the defense. Maybe they did change some
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, I love the coordinator change. I think that stuff's going to be a huge help for them. But is this offense going to look markedly better, markedly smoother? Or is Michael Penix still have kind of the rest of a rookie season that he's got to shake out?
So they have been, I would say, one of the most aggressive teams in the draft the last 2 years. Fair?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
With, I mean, just what they did at quarterback, obviously, in 24, and taking Penix after signing Cousins. And then this year, taking Jalen Walker, who I think we all agree could be a phenomenal player, and then coming back and trading back into the first round and getting James Pierce. So they basically last year addressed a quarterback hole that had existed for them since Matt Ryan left,
Yeah.
and did it aggressively. And this year addressed a pass rush hole, which has existed, I mean, probably since Dan Quinn's been gone, right? Like where they haven't been able to get off after the passer at all. And so that puts a lot of pressure on 3 young players. 2 of them are rookies. One of them is a second year guy who started 3 games last year. I love where Penix is. And I think what's interesting when you're there and when you're around the Falcons now is I think sense a lot of break tapping on Penix and how good he can be this year. And I also didn't just hear it from offensive coaches. I heard it from defensive coaches too, where there was, you won't believe this kid's vision. There's stuff that he was doing in practice where it was like, we had to get back in the meeting room. How the hell did he see that? And we'd ask him and he'd be able to explain it. And so like, I think with Penix, I'm excited to see what this looks like, because the comps that you're getting from people in that building is Matthew Stafford. And a lot of those guys were with Stafford in LA. Now he doesn't have all the arm angles. Obviously he doesn't have the experience and all of that, but just as far as how he spins the ball, how he sees the field, how fast he processes, all of that's there. And so that's one part of the equation. Like, will that manifest? And I wrote my column last week. There were a couple of instances where he got to the 5th progression. And veteran quarterbacks don't do that more than 2 or 3 times in a year. And Penix did it twice in 3 games. Which I think says something about how fast he sees the field for a young player. So I'm excited to see what that looks like. And then defensively, like how quickly can they get Walker and Pierce up to speed, and how quickly can those guys make an impact? Pierce, I think, was maybe one of the 5 or 6 most talented guys in the draft, but had a ton of character questions coming out of Tennessee. And then Walker, like the question's a little bit more with his fit. Like everybody loves him as a player. It's almost like he's the inverse, right? Like where it's like there are questions about his like measurables, like his height, like he has long arms, but if you look at him, it's what they compared him to when I was there. You like this, like just as far as his build goes,
give it to me.
A Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. So like what can Walker and Pierce do for a pass rush has really been a problem. If those two are like, if they hit home runs with those 3 picks, like, we're going to be talking about the Falcons differently in December than we are right now.
I think that, and it's not talked about enough, but I think, and there will be people who roll their eyes at this idea that, well, it's going to be the offense. It's going to be the offense. Bringing up the floor of the defense is going to be the key to this Falcons, because like Michael Penix might be great. He might not, but there's like, there's a limit to this stuff, right? Like he's not going to throw 35 touchdowns this year. Probably not.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he's not going to have probably not going to have a transcendent season. And what's going to make this team competitive is bringing the floor up. And I think that the Jeff Ulbrich move, to me, was the move of the offseason. And for anybody out there who thought that this was a lateral move at D coordinator, I mean, I think in another world, a very accurate world, Jeff Ulbrich was the defensive coordinator of the 49ers for a year and then was a legit head coach somewhere else. I think that he unfortunately got caught in an absolute garbage chute in New York and had to play out the string for a Jets team that was just disastrously assembled in the first place and was microwaved by the owner and all this kind of stuff. But
the owner got involved in that one where like the owner was all of a sudden really interested. This was one of the stories I dug up last year, like when the crap was hitting the fan there. But like the owner all of a sudden got really interested in Ulbrich because the Niners were trying to hire him away.
Right.
So, Kyle Shanahan likes him. So like now all of a sudden, like that's my guy, it was interesting.
But I think watch like Divine Diablo, Caden Ellis, guys like that I feel like can all of a sudden take this big step forward with better technicians, with coaches who played the position. I don't know. To me, that is where this team is going to get its most growth, because the Buccaneers are great, and we all word associate. We say, oh, Tampa Bay, yeah, because they have all those wide receivers.
Yeah.
No, Tampa Bay's good because they have probably one of the top 5 middle to lower classes of the roster in the NFL, and it's just third, fourth, and fifth round draft picks, right? And it's just it's the guys that you don't think about, and
it's like when the league
turns into needs to get.
Yeah, where the league turns into a war of attrition, the Bucs win.
Yeah. And so I think that's where Atlanta needs to get, and that's what I can't wait to see. And I think that's what I was impressed by during the preseason. I could be wrong, but I still don't see them as overtaking the Bucs. But maybe 9 wins, maybe 10 wins, maybe getting yourself into the playoffs if Tampa wins the division, which I expect them to. I mean, that's it, Albert. This team's got to win. It's got to be better than one incremental improvement every year, and I think everybody knows that.
Yep. Yeah. And I think this should be like their window, and like they've got, like they've hit on some draft picks. The offensive line's a little older now, and I think the McGarry injury is one that we should not like ignore completely, but it feels to me like there's, again, like if those 3 guys, if they can hit on those 3 guys, they're in decent shape everywhere else and have a chance.